opening.
If that was the most successful ad in North American history, what would failure look like?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Brian, that we had over 1 billion impressions around the world, and what we did, we generated a conversation that wasn't happening in the U.S. Now, every single local media, every large media, medium-sized media in the U.S. is talking about it. So is every governor, senator, and congressman and woman, not only nationally, but statewide. And the message was very clear. Protectionism does not work. And that's the message we have to the American people. And we're the third largest trading partner in the world, Ontario is. And I wanted to get the message out there. We achieved our goal, and now we paused it. We didn't have to spend the 75 million I thought we would, a fraction of that. I'll get the numbers for you shortly. But what we did, we ended up with earned media of anywhere from 300 to 400 million people in impressions. We call them views for the people at home. But I was getting constituents calling me saying their relatives in India saw it, in Italy, Portugal, Scotland, and Eastern UK said it was running all over, and every outlet in the US. So we achieved our goal, and now we put it on.
Have you talked to the Prime Minister about this, and what's? I mean, he was pretty measured in Malaysia today.
Sure.
About you and about this situation. But how are relations with the Prime Minister? Are things strained now because of what's happened?
Not at all. He saw the ad before I put it out, so it was chief of staff. They both saw it, and we moved forward on it. But again, we achieved our goal. As we say, mission accomplished. It was done. They're talking about it in the U.S., and they weren't talking about it before I put the ad on. So I'm glad.
Premier, the Prime Minister was explicit today in saying that it was the ad that derailed negotiations, which were moving ahead. With that in mind, why don't you feel you owe Ontarians an apology?
For sticking up for Ontarians. Well, let's talk about a so-called imminent deal. I've been hearing this for month after month after month, and if there's no mention about auto. It's about steel. The Americans are gouging us on steel, 50% tariff. We're at 25%, but nothing to do with auto. I'm focused on, and I love the steel workers. I talk to Ron Bedard, CEO, every second day at the FASCO, supporting him, Algoma, up in Sault Ste. Marie, protecting jobs. But I'm here, my job is to protect jobs here in Ontario. There's no mention whatsoever of auto. I feel like it's slipped to the side. I'm going to fight for the auto workers, the steel workers, the manufacturing, and life science sector. All these sectors that President Trump wants to annihilate, not just our country, but in particular, he wants to take jobs from Ontario. That's what he's trying to do, and I'll keep fighting. And I'll never apologize for fighting for the.
Knowing Trump, didn't you have anticipated this kind of reaction
during the World Series? And do you think that made things even worse?
Not at all. I think that's a good impact. Again, we had over 1 billion impressions. We achieved our goal, and our goal is to make sure that we get a fair deal. Not a one-sided Donald Trump deal, but a fair deal for the people of Ontario and Canada. And I'm focused on auto. There's no mention of auto anywhere. We've seen what's happening. I'm fighting for the people down in Windsor, up in Brampton, over in Oshawa, up in Cambridge, any area that has auto. It's my job to protect those people's employment.
Did you talk to the Prime Minister about your approach of leaving the ad on for the World Series and then putting it today? Was he supportive of that, if so?
No, I'm not going to get into personal conversations that we had. He knew I was running it. I said it very clearly to everyone. So I'm going to pause it on Monday, which we have. We've achieved our goal, and now let's get back to the table and sit down and have that conversation on how we're going to protect auto jobs here in Ontario.
Knowing Trump, did you have anticipated
in the House that this was taking months and months, this talk about the deal? Are you frustrated with how long it's taking, and do you feel cut out from the heart of the negotiations?
No, we play a critical role here in Canada. Ontario's the manufacturing powerhouse in the country, and when Ontario does well, so do all the other provinces and territories. I did have an opportunity to speak to almost every single premier. I think I have a couple in the territories I still have to reach out to. But my comments to them is, I want to keep going. Guys, that my champion Wab Kinew, he's 100% behind it. Another champion, Premier Eby as well. So these are the premiers, totally different political stripes than I am. but we're all sticking together. And I went right across the country and spoke to every single premier.
Danielle Smith doesn't like the ads, though. I mean, she said she wanted you to
Yeah,
withdraw.
well, of course, Danielle Smith doesn't like the ads because she's not getting her auto annihilated, her manufacturing, her steel, her life science sector. She has a commodity called oil that the Americans need and want. So she's going to be fine. Ontario won't be fine if we sign a lousy deal. I'd rather have no deal than a terrible deal that will cost jobs here in Ontario.
Premier, do you feel personally responsible for the 10% increase in tariffs from Donald Trump? Do you feel personally responsible for that?
Oh, he hasn't done it yet, right? So
He's threatened to. Do you feel personally responsible for it?
he's threatened a lot, but we'll see what comes down the road. But what we want to make sure that the American people realize, as they said on Fox News the other night, they're saying, "Oh, there's 10%." They said, "Yeah, that's a 10% tax on Americans." I loved when I heard that. It is any tariff on Canada is a tax on Americans, and that's what we want to avoid. We want to get to a deal. Make sure it's a deal that works for Americans and Canadians.
One of Trump's top advisors said that.
How do you get to that deal when the trade talks have been called off as a result of the ad that you put out?
Well, again, if it wasn't the ad, he'd look out the door or the window of President Trump and say, "Oh, the leaves have turned color. Let's stop." Believe me, President Trump is not putting a deal together to benefit Canada. It's our job. It's the Prime Minister's job to get a deal that benefits all of Canada. My job is to protect jobs here in Ontario. And one sector, there's many sectors, one is their auto sector. Hide nor hair. No one's speaking about auto. I'm speaking about auto. Planet Payne, the president of Unifor, is speaking about it. The auto workers are, but no one else is speaking about it. So I'm going to keep hammering away to make sure we protect jobs here in Ontario.
Was the
ad
ad,
was
was
so
the ad just
effective.
an excuse? One of Trump's top advisors said the ad was just an excuse, that there's been months of frustration, and he specifically said there's still too many Trudeau antics from the Canadian side. What do you react to that?
Well, Brian, I guess you answered the question, what they've all been asking me, and I just finished saying, it's not about the ad, it's about finding every excuse in the world.
But are there too many
not to
Trudeau
get a deal.
antics? Are Canadians negotiating in good faith?
Well, I can't say what Prime Minister Carney's team is doing or saying. All I know is my job is to protect auto jobs, steel jobs, manufacturing, life science sector jobs, and every job I possibly can. But not only that, but diversify and attract new opportunities, new jobs that we've done. We've seen $70 billion of opportunities that come to our province and created tens of thousands of new jobs. So I'm going to focus on them.
Has the
If it's so effective,
has the Prime Minister asked you to stop being so vocal with your opposition?
No, he's never said stop being vocal. I'm there, part of Team Canada. I think we play a critical role. Ontario, I think all the premiers play a critical role on this trade deal. And I think it's time for an FMM meeting to sit down and get more communication off the federal government and listen to the concerns of each province.
but if the ads were so effective, why did the Prime Minister ask you to pull them, Premier?
Well, again, they're very, very effective. You can take two approaches. You can try to sit down and see what Donald Trump says and see what sort of deal we can get, which was a terrible deal, by the way. Or you can stand up and fight for what we have. Canada is an economic powerhouse. We know one thing. We know the Americans need our oil, they need our potash, they need our uranium, they need our nickel, they do need our steel, they need our aluminum, and they need the manufacturing might of Ontario. We know that. So I wouldn't ever negotiate through weakness. I'd negotiate through strength. That's what President Trump respects. He's seen the whole world roll over. I'll tell you, I'm not going to roll over. I'll never roll over from standing up for the people of Ontario. That's my job.
Isn't that rolling over? Is it
saying the ads negotiations are now a responsibility of the federal government? Do you interpret that as the Prime Minister telling you to back off?
No, not at all. We're in communication, and it is the responsibility of the federal government. But my responsibility is to make sure they're talking about auto. They're talking about other sectors, manufacturing sectors, and life science sector. Those are my responsibilities, and I'll never stop fighting for the people of Ontario.
Did the Prime Minister say you were coming up in the trade talks?
even before this ad came out?
No, I don't remember him saying that to me, but obviously President Trump and for sure Howard Lutnick knows about Ontario because every morning 9 million Americans wake up to produce a widget, a product, a service for Ontarians. And we've seen, the employment numbers that manufacturing jobs down in the U.S. have dropped month after month, total 78,000 jobs for 5 consecutive months. That's what tariffs do. They hurt the American people. And all you have to do is look on clips from Ronald Reagan over and over and over again. I've seen more Ronald Reagan clips than you could shake a stick at. He was a free trader. I had a mentor named Brian Mulroney. I talked to frequently. I've had conversations with Caroline, his daughter, that is our president of the Treasury. And I'll tell you one thing, President Reagan was anything but loving tariffs, as Donald Trump said. He loved tariffs. He hated tariffs, by the way. And all you have to do is look at the clips. When you see the Reagan Republicans standing up for non-tariffs against the MAGA group, there's a split now in the Republican Party. And when Democrats, Reagan Democrats are standing up, there's a split. So the best ad that ever ran.
No,
So you're gonna on ads now, or are you gonna do some more ads? You're gonna not do more
Well,
ads?
let's we said we were going to pause it. We have achieved our goal beyond our wildest dreams, by the way.
But any new ads though?
Not yet.
Did the prime
How much
did the
less
prime
than
minister like the ad? Like, did you get any feedback from him on?
Well, I'm not gonna comment on our personal conversations. And he knew they were going out there. It was a very very strong ad. Our team did an incredible job in putting that together, and so did the ad agency. So they get the credit. Every person I showed it to, I showed it to a lot of governors too. No matter if it was Governor Whitmer or I was talking to Governor Walz over the weekend or Governor Shapiro. They thought they were great ads.
But those
how much less than 75 million? How much less than 75 million did this cost ballpark?
Richard, I'll get back to you, but it was a lot less because we were going to run ads all the way through February. Now we put it on pause. But did we get our money worth? Oh my goodness, did we get our money?
Have any Republican senators or governors told you that they, to Brian's point, that they liked the ad? I mean, we know the Democrats liked the ad.
Yeah, absolutely.
But any Republicans privately telling you?
No, I haven't talked to them, but I'll tell you what they have told me. They totally disagree with the president on all three levels. I talked to senators, congresspeople, and governors. They all told me they totally disagree, but they're too scared of President Trump. When was the last time a Republican governor was scared of a Republican president? They're scared of ramifications, which is really, really sad.
Why do you think the Ronald Reagan Foundation said it misrepresented Reagan's work?
Well, that's totally inaccurate. We did our due diligence, went to a U.S. law firm, we got it vetted, and it was all part of open domain. And media folks, you understand that. Once it's said, anything I say now, it's open, so they can use whatever I say in ads. And it was very, very clearly, it was clearly President Reagan's voice, word for word. And there was many more speeches he said, especially when we're making a deal, him and Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. He said the same thing. So I encourage everyone, look up Ronald Reagan, look up tariffs with Ronald Reagan, and see what he said, because there's endless amounts of open media, unclassified, by the way. We've done our due diligence.
So you're not worried about their threat to sue Ontario?
No, they can do whatever they want. They're going to win because it's very clear. They know it. I know it. That anything that is in the public domain is free to go out there. And we also looked up, it was unclassified. We did our due diligence. And you know something? You know why President Trump's so upset right now? Because it was effective. It was working. It woke up the whole country. There isn't probably, unless you're living underneath a rock down there, probably there isn't one American that hasn't viewed it on social media or on television. And the whole world saw it on the World Series. They saw it on the NFL games last night. So we've achieved our goal to make sure that conversation starts with the American people and with their elected officials. And my goodness, it started all right.
So we make of their attempts to discredit you. Yesterday, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was on the American Network Sunday morning shows calling you saying things like, well, everybody knows the Premier of Ontario was a hothead. So what do you say to that?
I don't get into name calling. You can, I don't even know who this guy is, by the way. Anyways, he can do whatever he wants. I'm focused on working with our team here in Ontario, working with all the other premiers, working alongside our federal government, and also working with our American colleagues that I speak to almost on a daily basis that totally disagree with President Trump. It does not work. Protectionism doesn't work, never has, and it won't work around the world. And they're going to see the American people, if he continues this way, losing jobs.
Premier, it
Last
also
time
sounds like you're relieved the talks were derailed because you didn't think Ottawa's being prioritized enough.
I'm never relieved. I just want to get the message out. And the message is very clear. Do not forget about our auto sector.
Do you think?
It's as simple as
This
that.
kind of impact.
Last question.
You anticipated this kind of impact.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Forecasting this kind of impact that the ad has created. Couldn't you have seen the President Trump reacting the way he did?
No, my intention.
Knowing Trump as well.
My intention was never to poke the president in the eye. My intention was to inform the American people. This is serious, and it's going to cost you jobs if we don't have a fair trade deal with your closest friend and ally.
But that didn't
with
cross your
Canada.
mind.
Well, no, my main focus and my intention was to inform the American people, and we achieved that goal. And we're going to continue working hard to attract new businesses. Here in Ontario, last year we attracted 409 companies investing over $40 billion, or close to $40 billion, 39.875 to be exact, and creating 25,000 jobs. When Vic Fideli, my Minister of Economic Development, is traveling around the world, they look at Ontario as a safe haven to come and invest and prosper, because we created those climates and conditions for companies to come here. We have the talent, we have the brightest people in the world, and we're going to continue pushing Ontario's message. We're open for business.